patrons. What is up, Scrub fam? Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon. Thank you so much for all your support. And I want to go ahead and do a video today that is a special video near and dear to my heart because we're going over the thickest leader in the Dragon Ball Supercard game. And I want to go ahead and get this out today because even though we have content coming out from Pat, from Zap, from the other members of the team, tomorrow I'm going to be leaving to hang out with some family, so I want to make sure I get this out there for you guys so you can see where Jiren has gone to into set 10. And a couple things to note is we're playing heavier in blue, which may feel different, but there's a reason why, a specific reason why. A lot of the reason that we are doing that is because we really want to lean into Son Goku and hit Supreme Alliance. And so the reason why it's important to lean into blue to play this card is because of how powerful this card is. So arrival for just a blue, and then activate battle. Once returning for leader card is blue or yellow, switch this card to active mode. So why is this card important? Well, in this format, unisons are proving to be very powerful across, every single powerful deck that exists right now plays some sort of unison, and the blocker ability is also really relevant. Being able to defend yourself by Zamasu Super Combo, play a Son Goku and hit Supreme Alliance, be able to block, restand, block again, provides so much defense for you that this card is kind of just the jack of all trades. It does everything you could possibly want to do. So building our deck to be able to enable this and going heavier into blue is going to be so much worthwhile. Whereas if you wanted to take it the other route and you wanted to do the traditional style, you're going to find yourself playing a lot of yellow cards, which makes your blue energy more, sparse and hard to use because you're also conflicting with Senzu Bean, which is very important. Is you want to make sure you have a Bean available, and you want to make sure you have Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance available almost at all times, especially during the first 3 turns of the game. And so what that means is since we're leaning on Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance, we're changing our unison. And I know what you're thinking. That's crazy. Why would you not play Mecha Kubura? Mecha Kubura, I understand, is a messed up card. I completely agree. But there's a big difference between God Sealing Trunks and Prideful Transformation Vegeta. God Sealing Trunks means as long as that card doesn't have to deflect, it's never hitting the battlefield. So if your opponent is playing any sort of burn effects, battle cards that are triggering burn, or if they're playing Invoker and they're about to play the 6-drop, or they're playing the 3-drop, you being able to stop that from happening is so vital to your success and so vital to you staying alive. I mean, getting to the 4th turn and being able to stop something like Mass Saiyan from triggering or Splintering Mind from triggering, that's so impactful. So that's the reason why we're leaning heavier blue in the main deck, as I feel like we're weaker to a lot of those strategies in Game 1. So we're playing blue heavy in the main deck, and we're giving ourselves access to SS Gotenks Absolute Unison, which honestly, the more I play with this unison, the more I love this unison. Dual attack blocker, blocker is really relevant, but the dual attack, since you're playing Jiren, you're going to find yourself that you're going to want to be more aggressive with your cards. So that's another reason to get off of Mecha Kubura and go to Gotenks, is that dual attack is really relevant, especially when your opponent's trying to play stuff like Flying Nimbus, or if they're just trying to defend themselves against multiple attacks. Being able to have a Gotenks on board, a Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance on board, you're putting a lot of pressure on the opponent just with, a small number of cards. So I really like where Gotenks fits in this deck. And then, of course, you have the -2, activate main, draw 2 cards. That's the reason why we're not playing Draw Apes in the main deck. You can easily switch this deck however you want, but this is just my preference based on the way that the metagame is shaping up. And then -3, activate main, choose 2 your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place them at the bottom of your opponent's deck in any order. So very powerful -3, getting you that removal, being able to get a barrier card off the board, being able to play against Invoker and get rid of a Vegeta and get rid of another card, being able to play against any other deck that's trying to pressure you with, bigger threats, being able to choose those and get rid of them. It's a highly impactful effect, but really you're in it for that -2, draw 2 cards, because Gotenks Absolute Unison honestly feels almost as powerful as, it's going to sound crazy, but Hydroid Crisis in Magic. And the way that card works is that the more you play, the more you draw with them, the more you're going to find the next copy. So it's not the first copy of Gotenks that wins you the game, it's the fact that you're going to start cascading into more copies of Gotenks. Being able to have a Gotenks survive your opponent's turn, swing with it twice, play another Gotenks, swing with it twice, draw 2 cards, That's so powerful. So this unison, very strong. I really like it in the shell. So that's my tangent about going heavier into blue. Is really it's because of the Gotenks Absolute Unison, and then Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance. Now let's go through the rest of the deck. 4 Senzu Bean. Senzu Bean is amazing. That's the reason why we're also heavy into blues, because you want to be able to have access to Supreme Alliance and Senzu Bean in the same turn with 2 or more blue energy. And it allows you to kind of do some really gross plays where your opponent swings at you. You go from 1 energy to 2 with a bean. You then are able to Zamasu super combo, play a Son Goku and hit Supreme Alliance. Or you can do even more busted plays where it's like you have 2 energy open, you Zamasu super combo, you play, bean Zamasu super combo, play a Bergamo, then a rival, a Son Goku and hit Supreme Alliance into play, or do the same thing with Raiders Warcry. Bean just enables some of the most busted offensive and defensive plays in this deck because this deck uses its energy really well, and that's one of the major reasons why we're playing Jiren in this shell is the invulnerability. Being able to have a Universe 11 on the board and make sure you can't take damage makes you a better, more effective tap-out strategy, so that's the reason why we're leaning on Jiren as a leader. Our Universe 11 cards, we're playing 4 Kunchi, Threaded Energy, 4 Binary Blade Casserole, 3 Dispo Sonic Subversion. Dispo Sonic Subversion, the more I play with the card, the more I love the card, especially in this format where you're talking about Vegeks and how powerful it is for them to be able to overwhelm and get that Vegeta Zeno on the board. Well, if you are able to, your turn on the draw, swing, take a life, play a Dispo, even if your opponent overwhelms and tries to play that Vegeta, or they try and play anything off of it, you can pop your Dispo back to your hand, take a life, and then that card just gets returned to their hand. So they don't even get to trigger, the ability that they want to trigger, the activate the main to be able to get something into play. So that's a very powerful effect, and it's just really tempo negative for them because it's like, yeah, they're going to get that Trunks on the board, but being able to stop that Vegeta from coming into play is so huge because that takes away the number of possible attacks that they have. For Zamasu super combo, you guys know, you've watched so many of my videos, you are over the fact that I play 4 Zamasu super combos in every yellow deck and some number of Bergamo Ferocious Roar, but it's just good. Being able to tap your opponent's battle card or leader card, being able to play a Bergamo and tap them out for the turn, or tap 2 their resources, or tap 2 their battle cards to defend yourself, is so absurdly powerful. Battle cards are still the cards that win the game, even though if you have unisons in play, they're great, but your opponent has to play battle cards, and they have to sequence their attacks appropriately, or you're going to punish them by tapping their leader. This card stays relevant. 4 Beerus Fickle God. We're playing this because we're leaning heavier into blue. If you were doing just a blue splash, you wouldn't need Beerus Fickle God in this situation, but since we're playing Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance, you're going to want your check land. We're playing 2 Jean and Martine. Great counterplay card. This is a card that you're probably going to side out in a lot of matchups that are lower to the ground. It also just gives you some ability and flexibility to discard extra 10k from your hand that are blue-yellow to be able to get that ability to untap 2, draw 2 cards. It's a great counterplay. Negating the cost of anything that comes into play, cost 5 or less, is just very powerful. And you're going to have energy open on turn 3 just because we're not playing unisons early. That's one thing to note about playing Jiren, and what made Jiren so awkward is when you were trying to play those 2-drop unisons in your main board and have those as your ultimate strategy, it just conflicted with so much of what the deck wanted to do. So definitely the reason why we're leaning more towards blue and having that open energy on turn 2 and 3 for us to be more aggressive defensively and offensively. And I really like Gina Martinez just like a tech slot. We're playing 3 Obuni Afterimage Slash. Since we're leaning heavier into blue, we're going to have 2 blue available, which means we get to play the best 4-drop in the game. The easiest way to get rid of unisons is Obuni Afterimage Slash. So we're playing 3 in the main deck. You also can untap energy at the end of the turn as well, just being able to use the activate main. So very powerful card. That's the another bonus for going heavy into blues. We get Obuni. Then we're playing 2 Bojack, Resident Agent of Destruction. We're playing 2 of these, so we have a total of 6 rival cards. This card's just always been good. Just being able to play this for yellow, and then it's a blocker, and then when you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode, then they mill a card. Milling a card is sometimes relevant, sometimes you get lucky with that variance, and then of course, tapping one of their things, we know how powerful it is. Zamasu into Bojack has been a staple of yellow and blue strategies for a long time now, and it continues to be really powerful, but Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance are just too powerful not to play at 4. So we're playing 4 Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance, 2 Bojack, Resident Agent of Destruction. 3 Raiders Warcry. We're a yellow leader, we get to play yellow busted yellow cards. So we're playing 3 Raiders Warcry. 4 is a lot. Right now you potentially could go less, but honestly with the way Bardock Unison is, you're going to want to have less copies of these if you're playing against green and they're on the play. So having 3 and then siding out 1 might be impactful for you. If you're on the play, you're going to want to have the full 3 copies in the deck. So very powerful. Still one of the best cards in the game. 3 Gods Healing Trunks. I explained why we're playing this over playing the yellow strategy in the main. Being able to counter anything that doesn't have deflect without its skills going off is very important for Jiren, especially with stuff like Scramble, with the new cards like Liquor and the other cards that just deal damages. You want to be able to stop that from happening, and Gods Healing Trunks let you do that. Then 3 Bergamo Ferocious Roar. We've talked about how messed up this card is. You guys know how impactful it is and important. So we're playing 3 copies. And then we're playing Power Batara as our secret rare. The card is just so good. You're going to be able to play it for 5 a lot of the time. That's why Bergamo is so important. Being able to get their things tapped on this critical turn so you can just play a Power Batara just gives you so much value. Tapping for their things, drawing 4 cards. This card is wild, so when it goes off, it's nuts. So this is our secret rare, easy to access. Sideboard. The sideboard considerations are mostly thinking about Vegeks. So that's where we're playing 4 Vegeta Unison of Fury. This is just an easy swap in that matchup. You're swapping out the 4 Gotenks for the 4 Vegeta Unison of Fury. You're going to need that -1 effect to be able to stop them from going off on turn 2. And then, of course, you want to have a way to close the game, which that card gives you, combined with something like Spirit Fist. Spirit Fist is going to allow you to tap on those battle cards that come into play, so you can stop that Splintering Mind from getting that effect when it attacks. Then you have the Activate Battle. If your leader card is a Universe 11 card and it's your turn, choose one of your leader cards or yellow Unison cards. It gets plus 10,000 for the turn. So being able to combo this with your Vegeta Unison of Fury in the -3 effect, you now have a 30k double strike dual attacker to help close out the game. So we're playing that in tandem with Vegeta Unison of Fury. 3 Release from Evil. If you're playing against Reboot Gohan, this card is absolutely gas. Choose the attacking card, ignoring barrier negated seals for the turn. It can't be switched to active mode until the start of your next turn. Easy out to Gohan. They turn their leader sideways on the awakened side. You negate their skills. You're fine. Combine that with Zamasu Super Combo. I don't think you're ever losing to that deck. And then of course, this card's also great against anything that has multiple attack triggers, or if they have. It's a Unison card because you can target the Unison card. So say your opponent doesn't use the ability on it, you just target the Unison and then bam, it can't activate any skills, which is wild. Then we're playing a 3rd Jiren Pride of Universe 11. This is going to be for the Green Goku matchup. You'll bring this in so you have the ability to get your Kunchi back or get something back into play when you need it, and just so you can have your ability on the Awakened side. So we're playing a 3rd copy in the sideboard. We're playing 3 Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts, also for the Green Goku matchup and Hand Destruction matchup. And then we're playing 2 Vegeta Prideful Transformation to go in tandem with our Vegeta Unison of Fury. So you're bringing in a small sideboard package for the Vegeta Unison of Fury, and that's only matchups where you need it. There's gonna be a lot of matchups where you just want to stick with your blue Unison, and then you just make some changes here or there between adding something like Release from Evil or Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts. Just being able to get those into the main deck is just very powerful for you. Other considerations to play is Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan if you're concerned about Vegeks. I'd rather just take a really proactive approach and play a card in a higher number like Vegeta Unison of Fury to kind of get that done, especially if you're expecting to lose game 1. Being on the play in game 2 and having Vegeta Unison of Fury in your opener is going to do a lot of work for you. So in general, this is the deck itself. I think there's still a lot of room for changing, but this is where Jiren, I think, sits in Series 10, and I think the successor version, Green Yellow, is still really good. It's a really good aggressive strategy, but I think counterplay hoses it a lot. Luckily you have a lot of barrier threats, and I just think Son Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance is too good not to play in conjunction with your broken yellow card you get for just being a yellow leader. So here's the deck profile itself. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay safe, everyone out there. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Patreon. This is a Patreon exclusive video, and I just thank you all so much for your support, and I hope we've been delivering on our content on our end. And apologies for no Corona cast this week. Frisco was out of town. We didn't want to do it without him, but we will be resuming this week coming up. So thank you guys so much for everything. Again, thank you for your support. #ScrubFam as best fam. Okay, thanks. Bye!